There is a pleasure in the pathless woods. There is a rapture by the lonely shore. There is society where none intrudes, by the deep sea and the music in its roar. I love not man the less, but nature more. Now, what does Lord Byron mean when he says this? There is a pleasure in the pathless woods. There is society where none intrudes. I love not man the less, but nature more. What is he really saying there? And it should be quite evident that he yearns for a deeper simplicity within life. His was a time of modernization. The Romantics resisted such, as they saw life unfold and become more complicated, and that has not slowed down by any means as our world becomes more rational and more calculating, and we struggle to find more meaning for ourselves. So within these woods, within their simplicity, there's more chance of fulfillment. There are no offices or bureaucrats here to confuse us. There are no phone calls to be made where we ring it and we're left on hold with disgusting music played in our ears. There is more fulfillment naturally as we breathe in fresh air, as we see less annoying people. It's just us and the occasional passers-by. It's really a beautiful thing. But life simply isn't always this simple. Within half an hour, I'll probably be back in my home editing this video, and I'm simply not as fulfilled whilst on a computer than in these woods where I breathe fresh air, where I hear the birds tweet. Modernity is simply not that beautiful. And with modernity comes politics. And it's no secret now that we are in a time of great struggle economically and socially. We are all frustrated. And simplicity is the commoner's virtue. There's no open secret that most philosophers are middle class or aristocrats because they have more time to deal with the speculative questions of existence, the time-wasting questions. But simplicity isn't always guaranteed in this world. And as we face these cultural problems and these economic problems, the common man finds himself in the domain of the economist, of the sociologist, of the philosopher, of the cultural critic. And he does not yearn for the complexity of those very actors. He wants ready-made solutions, and we face problems as mass politics holds her sway, and we are all swallowed up, forced to answer questions we are unable to answer. So amidst the turmoil, there's a genuine need people feel to understand the issues of the time, the societal plagues of the time. It's a rather understandable instinct. I want to understand more about the current problems with the world, Britain especially, of course. And Keynes come up with the narrative theory, and through the complexities of the time, the problems, people will come up with ready-made, digestible theories, which will simply be told from person to person, basically becoming folk tales, folk theories, if you will, on the economic problems of the day. And through narrative theory, we can pretty much decipher if a society is successful or not. For example, regardless of what you think of Bill Clinton, he said his slogan for his election, which he won, his tagline, his victory tagline was, "It's the economy, stupid," which it was. The president's job is to fix the economy, so his tagline was simply, "Let's fix the economy." Whereas let's go to South Sudan. It was something, the Dinka has been cheated by the Nor, right? I'm probably not saying the ethnic group right, but it's basically inciting a race war. Can we see now which society is going to be naturally more successful? The one which chalks problems down to the economy, or the ones which blame other races, and inevitably we're going to get a little bit genocidal? Can we see who's going to be more successful? America blamed it on abstractions, the economy, whereas the South Sudanese problem is down to other people, physical people, flesh. And ultimately there's ethnic turmoil there to this day. So though Byron notes the joys of simplicity here in the woods, it's not all sunshine and roses, as that narrative theory example clearly illustrates. Now, I'm not going to be able to memorize this, so I'm just going to read you Edmund Burke, a quote from Edmund Burke, which I find essential on this theme of narratives, etc. Wise men will apply their remedies to vices, not to names, but to causes of evil, which are permanent, not to the occasional organs by which they act, and the transitory modes by which they appear. Now, what Burke is saying is, evil is a guaranteed thing in existence. It's guaranteed, absolute. We have not lived in a world without evil, pretty much. And basically, people always will try and point fingers with this to names, as Burke says. These names could be ethnic groups, as the Dinka example, blah, blah, blah. Whereas the problems which are solved are simply applied to the vice in itself. And that vice in itself will often be a governmental problem, as in fixing the economy. Evil is a transitory thing. Evil can flow through any being, pretty much. But obviously we're applying this to humans. So in the Weimar Republic, for an anecdote, the problems of the day were not blamed on the abstractions, like Bill Clinton blamed it on the abstractions, but instead on the Jews, a successful ethnic group in good sectors and in bad sectors. Now, similar cases have happened with the Chinese persecution in Vietnam, Polish persecution in Russia. So I will, using our little narrative method that we've both learnt together, I suppose, I will put the kind of examples of people who do the blame the name thing, and then the societies which actually embody blaming the name and not curbing the abstraction.
I'm Nikki, I'm the anti-racist mum, and I am here today to bear witness to the decline further into fascism at the behest of the Zionist parasites that have infiltrated our government and control our puppet politicians.
What is it that you do?
I teach white people how to be even less racist, because I don't believe that we can have safer communities. I've been a youth worker for nearly 30 years, and I don't believe that we can have safer communities all the time that white people don't decolonise ourselves, that we don't show up living our values. It's too easy for people to say that they're an ally, but we don't show up living those beliefs, and so that's what I support.